Have you ever wondered why some people are stuck in the past or are just living for today, or others are always thinking about the future, only planning the future? Have you thought about this? Well, according to psychologists Philip Zimbardo and John Boyd, it is the way that we see time that affects everything. Our relationships, it affects the way we see life, it affects our health, it affects our businesses. Well, I'm talking about this book right here, where Philip and John, they explain the 6 different time perspectives. And in this video, I'm going to summarize them for you, and I believe it's going to be very, very helpful. So stick around, and before I even go further, why don't you subscribe to the channel? It doesn't cost you anything, it helps the channel, and you help support me and everything that we do here on this channel. So I appreciate you, and let's get to the video. Well, the very first time perspective is called past positive. These people are usually called the nostalgic people. You know, they truly value their roots, you know, their upbringing. They look at the past and they see with these beautiful colors and, you know, amazing experiences. These are the people that are always talking, you know, the good old days, and they have very good and warm memories about their childhood, their upbringing. These are past positive people. When these people look in the past, it brings them a sense of identity, a sense of security, it brings them a sense of joy. But you know, according to the book, it's not all good about past positive, because past positive people tend to have a hard time accepting changes. Yes, because they're always looking in their past in a very nice and positive way, but they tend to be a little reluctant when it comes to change. These people are always trying to keep things the same way, doing things the old way, without accepting that sometimes the new way is actually the better way. Then let's go to our second time perspective, which is past negative. And like it says, this person has or tend to have a more negative approach to the past because, unfortunately, of their past experiences. And this includes regrets, bad memories, bad experiences, trauma, unfortunately. So these people tend to have a very negative view of the past. But when you have a past negative view, you tend to be a little bit more cautious about the things you do. You think before you do. So this can also be a positive. So if you are one of those that have a past negative time perspective, this could be a good trait, you know, because you're more cautious about doing things instead of just, you know, being, doing in a very sometimes stupid way because you're not thinking through. But unfortunately, past negative people, they also tend to be pessimists. You know, because of their bad experiences, they sometimes think that experience is going to carry through their lives. So they tend to be, or to have that pessimist attitude. Some of the traits that are found in past negative people are also, they have a hard time trusting people. They have a problem with self-esteem. And also, it's found through their research that a lot of past negative people, they have also the tendency of having depression. The third time perspective is called present hedonistic. And I've covered present hedonistic in one of my past videos. Basically, present hedonistic are the YOLO generation, right? The people that are always saying, you only live once, let's do it. You know, these are the major pleasure seekers, because the word hedonistic or hedonic is the seek of pleasure. These are the people who are always looking for novelty all the time. They can also be a ton of fun, a lot of joy to their group, because they're like, you know, these they have a lot of creativity. They have a lot of they're very spontaneous. You know, these are the present hedonistic people. And nowadays, The market loves present hedonistic people. You know why? Because they have the tendency of spending more than they can, because they're always seeking pleasure. They're not looking at the future or to save or anything. They're looking at everything with the perspective that you only live once. So you can see the market explores this kind of people because of their impulsivity, right? So you're going to see a lot of ads, a lot of marketing campaigns geared towards present hedonistic, because they know these are the people that are spending the money right now. They don't care. They just want to have that experience at any cost. However, present hedonistic people, because they're always seeking pleasure, they have a higher tendency of suffering from addiction behaviors. Also, they have a tendency for procrastination because they're always thinking about right now, and they just want to do what feels good, what they can get pleasure from. So they procrastinate, and they have a hard time with long-term planning, obviously. The fourth time perspective is called the present fatalistic. I joke that this is the meh, if you've seen that movie, Emoji Movie, the meh is like, yeah, whatever, fatalistic is that person that thinks that no matter what they do, everything is already, set out for them. It's not going to change the outcome. So they always have this kind of, it's good, bad, doesn't matter kind of attitude. Because these people think and they believe that their lives are, determined by fate or by luck or by any other outside factor that is not controlled by them. In other words, nothing they do will actually matter because they're not in control. That's why present fatalists, they suffer more from helplessness, from being passive, and also lack of creativity. But it's interesting that according to Philip and John's survey, and that is in the book, present fatalists, they tend to be more caring towards oppressed people, towards the poor. So that's kind of a trait that they have. They want to take care of people to help in their suffering. Sometimes they don't care too much about their own suffering, but they help with other people's suffering. The fifth time perspective is future-oriented. These are the people that love to plan, strategize about their goals and their dreams. They are thinking in a very measurable way about the future. These people usually have more of a tendency to delay gratification, which can be an amazing trait. So they can wait. And these people also, they care more about their health because they are looking in the future. So taking care of their health now, they understand that they will have even better health in the future. But it's not all good for future-oriented people, because thinking too much about the future can cause a lot of stress. These people are usually more workaholics, and they lack that spark of being spontaneous because they think too much about the future. So they don't usually take a position of being spontaneous. And then finally, the sixth time perspective is Transcendental Future. These are the people that think and believe that this life that we live right now is just the beginning. They're looking to create a spiritual legacy in their family, and they're really not afraid of death because, it's just a passage to eternity. A lot of Christians like myself tend to have this time perspective, a transcendental future, because we do believe that the actions that we have here in this place matters, okay? And living a principle-centered life or a righteous life is not just a way of living, but is the only way of living if you truly believe in eternal life. But a negative aspect of this time perspective is that some people, they tend to think too much about their passage, or their next, the eternal life, that they don't take care of their earthly responsibilities. So in conclusion, my perspective about this book is that it's extremely important for you to understand the 6 different time perspectives, for you to, one, identify which one you're leaning more towards, because my understanding is that we go through phases of life, right? And in each phase of life, we are maybe going to look at time and at life with a different lens, a different perspective. So in this book, it's interesting because you learn the 6 different types and the six different perspectives, and then you can navigate through all of them, because ideally you would have a little bit of every perspective. But you only do that. You can only do that when when you have the theory about the perspectives, and obviously you have the awareness, like what kind of time perspective I'm having today. Am I being doom and gloomy, or am I thinking too much about the past? Am I thinking too much about the future? So we can balance things out when you know all the perspectives. So tell me in the comments down below, which one do you think you are right now? What kind of time perspective you think that you are living right now? Let's go back a little bit for the 6 different types, right? So you have the past positive, you have the past negative, you have the present hedonistic, you have the present fatalistic, you have the future perspective, and at last you have the transcendental future perspective. So going back a little bit on the definitions that I gave, which one are you living today? Let me know in the comments. I really want to know. Hope you have an amazing and blessed day. And as always, I'll see you on our next video. God bless you.